Hey folks, it's Peter Scott here, your favorite real estate broker with Scott Realty Consultants and search@sacramentohomes.com. Hey, I'm just reaching out with our 2 to 3 minute Sacramento market update for December of 2019. And to jump right into it, our market's been continuing on the last couple of months in the same way. Prices have been increasing just slightly or just not at all really, and sales have been increasing a bit. We had quite a big slowdown in sales, but prices were continuing to go up. Now it's kind of turned a corner and prices and sales are continuing to edge up. One thing to note is that we do have a slowdown in the winter time, but this market isn't quite as dull as it has been in the last few years. We had a really dull winter last year, but this has been a pretty active market right now. There's still a surprising amount of people going out and actually looking at homes, making offers, and even listing homes. I'm handing off keys to a buyer here right before Christmas, so that's just the way the market is right now. I don't know if you saw it, but the Sacramento Bee did a really big article a week ago on where the Sacramento real estate market is going. They had a bunch of experts in there. It was a really long article, and I'll link it in the email here for you if you want to check it out. The consensus is, yes, prices are going to increase. So California has a housing crisis, and a lot of people just aren't moving like they used to. And there's two factors. We have an aging population, for one, Sacramento, and two, a lot of people are just sitting on those really, really, really good interest rates that they got, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. If you have a mortgage payment that's really, really easy and comfortable for you, and you look at something that's maybe, double that, then it's not much of an incentive to get you to move. So you got to have a pretty good push to get out of some of those houses sometimes. What happens? People move. But that's the way it is. And one thing in the article it did point out is that a lot of more millennials are finally getting off the fence, and they are finally starting to buy houses. They're not quite as scared. People aren't quite as gun shy as they were from coming out of the recession a few years ago. So prices are going to get an increase. Another variable is interest rates. They're really low right now. They are going to go up. So it's going to be interesting to see with that low inventory pushing prices up, and maybe those high interest rates pushing prices down, and what's going to win out there. If we finally get some sort of incentive to get more people to sell their houses, and that'll help prices stabilize and slow down a little bit more. So nobody knows the future, so we will certainly see, but we all expect prices to continue to rise. So now it's a great time to buy a house, just because, well, prices may seem high to you, but they're going to go higher, but interest rates can have a real big impact on your payment, what it can be, and especially at the interest that you'll pay over the life of that loan too. So let me jump into some of the numbers here. Here we go. This is month over month. So this is for the Sacramento County region. You see our median was 423. So this includes Placer County, El Dorado County. So if you're in Placer County, the median home price is in the 500s. If you're in Sacramento County, it's in the high 300s. So up about 1%, which is about normal here. Our days on market up 3 days. So again, this is really depends on the price range you're in. If you have a really cheap house, it's going to sell pretty fast. If you have $1 million house, it's probably going to take a little while to sell. So that's about what we're seeing, 1% up from month to month. And then year over year, we're seeing here a 6% jump. So remember I said last year was kind of a really dull winter, so it's a pretty big jump. Most months were about 2 to 3%, 4% year over year on price increases. Days on market is down 3%, and our supply of our inventory is actually down 23%, which is pretty notable. So it's pretty interesting numbers there. So I would suggest, the market, real estate is a local thing, as you probably know. It can be hyper local to a neighborhood or to a region. Depends on where you're looking at buying or selling a house. If you have any questions about that, buying a house, selling a house, what that looks like for you, I'd be happy to answer those for you. Just reply to this email and we'll get you taken care of real quick. So this is it. Everybody have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see you in January. We'll see you next decade. I guess that's the corny thing people are saying these days. Take care.